taking a left when you normally take a right, and putting yourself into the element of the unknown. It's all learning and growth. And I think, as you say often, you know too much to go back to whatever that pathway is that we have been on before. We know too much now. What we get from it on the other side now, I just know it's even a higher learning. Like, we're going through the learning and the growth, but it's even bigger learning and bigger growth at the end. And if you achieve what you set out to do, it circles right back to a detachment, and then you do it all over again. Don't attach. This isn't it. It keeps coming at you.
Make meditation your life, and set the intention is number one, and know that you're not going to be that good at it at first. You are going to do 10 minutes of meditation, and then you're going to freak out on somebody 45 minutes later. But maybe afterwards you're going to be like, oh my God, like, yeah, I listened to that Osho, and oh my God, and I just did it, and that was the vehicle, and okay. And I do this all the time, BJ. I'll come back and I'll be like, I could have been better. I could have been better on that. Okay. So now I take that, I put that in my could have been better file, and then I use that for later. Oh, here it is again, because it's going to keep coming. Here it is again. Okay, this time I'm going to be better. And maybe I'm a little bit better, maybe I'm a lot better, but over time, it will, again, it's that momentum, right? It will catch up. It will catch up. If you're not used to having a meditation practice, making your meditation your life is going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute, but don't give up. And it's okay if you freak out, or somebody freaks out on you, or you have a panic attack. Like, it's okay. Stay with your practice. Set the intention to make your life a meditation. Stay awake when everything says go to sleep, and you'll get better and better every day. You'll get better and better every day in every way. But it takes time. It takes a minute.
Welcome back to the Yogi Triathlete Podcast. This is our monthly edition of the O-Show, where Jess and I sit down and smack talk back and forth, answer your questions if they come in, or pretty much just talk about anything that we talk about every single day. It's things that we go into depth with, and things that really resonate with us and our team and our community. And so this is our opportunity to share that with all of you. So welcome, everyone. And if this is your first time, go back and binge on previous episodes of the O-Show. And on that note, season 3 of the Awake Athlete podcast was launched not too long ago. So please check that out and let us know your thoughts. Jess puts a lot of time into that. So much time that she was unable to do the intro, and she passed it over to me here today. So I took charge. All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you, BJ. I appreciate that. I like this passing of the torch. Maybe I'll just take the whole thing over.
Possibly. If not now, when?
If not now, when? Exactly. What did you just got off the bike. What did you do for training today?
So this morning, I woke up early, and because the pool up the street now, about a mile, has reopened their schedule, so they're open at 6 a.m., I'm getting back into the practice, which I ebb and flow through with getting a workout done first thing in the morning. So I got myself up to the pool, got an hour swim in, came back. Clark is on the move to his favorite spot. Yeah, good boy. More camera time. And then I hopped on the bike just before this podcast, did a 15-minute ride with 4 times 3 minutes at just above FTP on about 6 minutes rest. So plenty, double the rest, but high intensity, double the rest. So 3 minutes on, 6 minutes easy.
What's FTP?
It's your, basically it's how much power you can hold for an hour basically on the bike. So you do a test, you can do a 20-minute test, you can do a ramp test. And basically it gives you an idea in that time frame what you can hold for an hour, and then you do some math and you come up with what zones you can train at, just similar to heart rate.
What's a ramp test?
Ramp test is where you slowly increase the intensity as you keep pushing. Whereas the traditional test is just a 20-minute best effort, which is what you and I are most familiar with. Mm-hmm. Coming from our days of Boulder at the Boulder Center of Sports Medicine with Neil Henderson.
I know.
Our connections run wide and they run deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun time in life, getting into triathlon, moving out to Colorado, thinking it was because we were going to snowboard all the time, and which we did do.
We did a lot of snowboarding.
We got a lifetime worth of boarding in that first winter, I think. And then finding endurance sports and realizing that that was truly the reason we were guided out there. It's really cool. And I think that when you stay open, and even though that was pre-meditation days and all of that, I can't speak for you, but I've always lived from this willingness to, follow my gut feeling or my heart or my intuition, whatever you want to call that. And if we can focus in on that and follow that, which requires taking risks because it steps you out of what you know to be true and steps you into what you have yet to discover, that it's always more expanded and, I don't know, I think more expanded, but also aligned. Like it feels like, yeah, snowboarding was so fun. I loved it. It was so fun. But the life I live now feels like the life I came here to live. And had I not been like, yeah, I'm out of here, I'm going to Colorado, and had you not said, oh my God, she's going to leave without me, I'm going to go too, we wouldn't be sitting here in front of these microphones, or maybe we would, or I don't know. I think there's a lot of parallel lives that are happening right now, but the one that I'm sitting in is the one that makes the most sense, which is so funny. Like you come into this commonsensical position in life that so many decisions that didn't make sense got me here.
Yes. And I want to get to your workout this morning, but since we jumped into this, I've been really honing in on this concept. If I were to write out everything that you did up to this point, or, in the past 10, 15, 20 years, and I told you that 20 years ago and said, this is what's going to happen, would you jump on board for everything that would happen? Most likely not. The highs, the lows, the ankle that you sprained, snowboarding, the loss of our dogs, the moving back east, like all these things. If I'd scripted all that for you, you probably wouldn't be like, oh my God, that sounds awesome. Maybe you would. Most people, I think, would not. This is why we need to have the experiences to get us to this very moment that we're at, this joyful, appreciative, grateful moment in our lives where it's beautiful. It's beautiful right now. But everything, and it's always been beautiful to a level. But if I look back, there's definitely moments where I had resistance to what was happening. So my point is, things are going to come into your awareness as you move towards this tug or this pull to what fills you up more. And it may not be your current situation, but as you move closer to that, there's going to be moments and experiences and pathways that are not going to make sense. They're not going to feel good, possibly. They're going to ebb and flow, and it's okay. It's okay. In the end, you have to trust or work on the trust that it will get you to where you want to go. And so this is why you and I are here now, sharing the mics, doing a podcast, which if you had told me 20 years ago that I would have to be in front of all these people and speaking my truth and how I feel, I would say, no way. I mean, it was challenging for me in college to stand up and do a presentation in public speaking. I was so nervous. It was all about memorization. And I just wanted to get through it to get on the other side to, I don't know, go play basketball or something, right? Just get me through it. Now, I embrace and enjoy all the opportunities I get to feel that discomfort. The discomfort you shared with me just right before the podcast when you said, start it up, right? So there's a little bit of old BJ saying, no, I won't do that. But I know better. I know better. I know I will
doing the intro.
Doing the intro.
Yeah.
I'll work my way through
Start it
it.
up. I'm like, what did I tell you to start up?
So does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think you and I, like, we came together in this life, but like I came from the right and you came from the left.
Well, the opposite, because you're left-handed and I'm right-handed. It totally makes sense.
Because my whole life I was jumping out of my skin to have adventure. Being in school from 7 a.m. till 2:00 in the afternoon used to make me crazy. Like I felt suffocated from this like standardized routine of growing up. So I think for me, like when you were saying like if we had said like all of these things that were going to happen, I probably would have said yes anyway. And that's just whatever. That's just the soul that dropped into this body. Just I think I've had a lot of adventure. But it was funny that you say that about what happened, after. And it's interesting that we're talking about this because today is the 17th of June. And just 3 days ago was like our 6-year anniversary of pulling out of our driveway and saying, we have no budget, no itinerary, no idea where we're going to live. Let's go. And one thing I did know about that trip, I don't know if I ever told you this. I knew we were going to have like a massive financial scare. I knew it. I absolutely 100% knew it. And, but we went anyway, right? So I just knew it. I don't know how to describe it other than I had a knowing, but then I think the bigger knowing that I had was like, we're going to be okay. I knew we were going to be okay. And you said something about like, I think you said like gratitude for life. And it's interesting that you said that because my workout this morning was, on Fridays, I've been keeping like a 2-hour trail run. And a couple weeks ago, I did like, a little bit longer than that. And today I was out on the trail just feeling this really elevated sense of gratitude for life. Yeah, for my life, but like for life, for life and the discernment that my life, like the life that breathes me, the life that lives me is always perfect. It's always intact. It's never tarnished. It's never scared. It's never sick. It's never fearful. It's never impatient. And like our life is perfect. And if we can, I was thinking about how over so many years I've cultivated that relationship with that part of me that's breathing this body. And because of that, all those fluctuating circumstances in life, it doesn't take away like their intensity, but there's an ease about navigating life. And I was feeling a elevated sense of gratitude for that today. As even just in the last couple of weeks, we've had encounters with people who are in a lot of pain. And there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering, and it puts me further into my purpose to not just walk the talk, but through any vehicle that our source or universe puts me into and says, share your teachings through your experience. I will do. Like I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to assist people in just easing that suffering, easing that pain. Because we're so powerful, we're so much more powerful than we think. And that was also playing into just this gratitude I have. It's almost scary how powerful we are, how we create circumstances in our life. And there's this saying that's like, well, it's meant to be this way, it's supposed to be this way, and that's completely incorrect. Things are the way they are because we created them to be that way. So let's give ourselves power. I've created my life to be a chaotic mess sometimes, and I've created it to be a complete delight. And how I navigate those things with the knowing that I am a powerful being, that really sets the stage for what's coming next. So yeah, so I did a couple hours on the trail this morning and just had this really amazing elevated sense of gratitude. And there was this like one part where I actually took a picture of it, where the trail was just really pristine, no rocks or anything like that. And it was in the middle of like a field, which has now gone to gold as opposed to green, when it's raining and things like that. And then right where you can't see the trail anymore because it goes down, you see the mountain, the volcano that's there in these local trails. And I just like laughed because I was like, this is so life. Like, we get onto this nice tidy little path where we have like a 401k and great insurance and a paycheck and all of that. And we like dismiss the fact that there's always going to be a mountain. So it doesn't matter if the trail is technical and messy, you're going to have a mountain. If the trail is perfect and clear and just that wonderful pitch to run on, there's going to be a mountain. Because this place that we live here, this earth, we're here to learn. The purpose of this world is to learn. So it's never, ever, ever going to stop. And I think that that's why I would have said yes, even if I knew all of the highs and the lows that we were going to navigate, because you can't escape the learning that you came here to experience.
Yeah, I think that's an awakened athlete's mindset. I do. I think being out on the trail and being able to see those parallels is because you're awake. You're not on the trail with music, zoning in, hitting paces and work in intervals. And I think that's one way to go, and it's not wrong. But I think the more fulfilling, I'll say that word, fulfilling experience you have is when you're presently there through the entire experience on the trail and you're looking around, you're soaking it in, you're breathing the air, smelling the flowers, which I know you do often, and taking a left when you normally take a right, and putting yourself into the element of the unknown. It's all learning and growth. And I think, as you say often, you know too much to go back to whatever that pathway is that we have been on before. We know too much now. What we get from it on the other side now, I just know it's even a higher learning. Like, we're going through the learning and the growth, but it's even bigger learning and bigger growth at the end. And if you achieve what you set out to do, it circles right back to a detachment, and then you do it all over again. Don't attach. This isn't it. It keeps coming at you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was the morning.
Yeah, so that was the morning.
It's now noon.
Yeah.
We're recording this podcast on another just day where we just have end of a week where we just have been filled with so much to accomplish and everything that we created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that the saying, careful for what you wish for is absolutely true, as opposed to the other one, like, well, I guess it's supposed to be this way. Nah, we're more powerful than that. But yeah, be careful for what you wish for. I remember we had Renee, she's been on the podcast Renee's been on the podcast, hasn't she? Renee and Philip?
She came on with Philip the second time. Yeah.
They are our yoga mentors back in Rhode Island. And I remember one day in class, she said, every thought is a prayer. Like, every thought is a prayer. And one of the laws of nature, but also like universal law, metaphysical law, beyond physical, because science eventually, our material scientists, eventually they discover all the metaphysical laws within the manifestation of matter here on Earth. And it's cause and effect. So it really is like every thought, every word, every action, like, be careful for what you wish for. As Meditator Bob says, like, you better make sure you have a guard at the gate. Like, make sure your guard is at the gate, like, watching which thoughts that you're going to choose to indulge. But that's, you could kind of be like, well, that's kind of scary. And I don't know, maybe it is. But you could look at it that way, or you could look at it like, okay, I'm going to get my guard at the gate, and I'm really going to start watching like what I'm indulging, because what we focus on expands.
There's actually, it's funny you say that because I had that as a note to talk about. Like,
all right, talk about
this focus that we bring awareness to, good or bad, if we want to label it good or bad, what we focus on will expand. So if you're fearful of flying your bike on an airplane to go to a race, then you're bringing that energy into the flight that you're taking with you. If you're fearful of going into the ocean in an open water race and you're fearful of the seals or the sharks or whatever wildlife is down there, you're bringing and attracting that energy. Well, it may not manifest into a shark or whatever, maybe a jellyfish this time, or maybe it's just seaweed that you put your hand on and it kind of shocks you a little bit. So you're bringing in this element of stuff because you're focusing on it. So the alternative to this is to shift your awareness to something else. And why I'm saying this is right now, a swimmer that we're on the team is trying to swim around the bridge, the pier. And as she continues to train every week and slowly make her way further out, hasn't quite gotten around the pier, but more and more further out, what she's noticing is her attention is pulled away to, what is that? What is that? What is that underneath? And am I still swimming in the right direction? And what is that over there? And all these thoughts are coming in, and she's choosing to focus on something else, her breath. Another cue that we have is stroke, like a mantra, long, strong, calm, or count your strokes is another one. Count every 20 strokes. My point is you can take ownership, what you were talking about before, take ownership of the experience. This is my experience to have. I'm going to notice when my mind wants to wander, but I'm going to instead pull it back. And it's a relentless pursuit. So when we start to focus on that, we start to meet these experiences with more calm, because that's what we're focused on. If we're always focusing on anxiety, fear, doubt, then we're going to have fear, anxiety, and doubt come streaming in different areas of our day. And then we're going to be asked to navigate them. And are we going to fall back to the default path that we've created, or are we going to choose a different way?
Because they're going to keep coming until like you're here to master these things. And another word I could use there is to like overcome them. So you'll keep attracting the same thing. You'll keep having that change that's the same, which I did an episode about that in Awake Athlete Season 3. Are you changing to be the same? Which is like, oh God, doesn't that make you want to choke?
It's terrible just to hear those words. Change to be the same.
Oh my God, I've been so guilty of that. Changing to be the same. Like, oh my God. So you'll keep drawing all that stuff to you until you, like the swimmer is saying, "Oh, that's not helpful. I'm going to shift my focus. I'm going to stop giving this fuel. I'm going to just feel the experience," because we have to burn off the momentum of the things that we have created. So even if you're like, okay, I'm in now, I'm listening to the Awake Athlete podcast, join the team, going on retreat, like I'm going to get this squared away in my mind. Like that's amazing because you're starting momentum in a new direction, but there's a lot of effects that are still coming from their cause, right? So there's still a lot of momentum that needs to burn off. So that's like, sometimes people will make positive change in their life, but they'll give up because they're like, oh, man, I still can't get a break. And what we don't realize is that we've created these waves, these quantum waves of momentum that basically manifest into life circumstances. And then we say, oh, I'm making all this positive change and nothing's changing. But we have to stay with the positive change so that the physical of everything we've created can burn off and the new stuff can catch up. And then that's when you're really like, you're living with ease no matter the circumstance. So don't give up. Keep moving forward. That's a rewiring that needs to happen to keep moving forward when you don't yet have the evidence. When it seems like nothing's changing, you are creating change. But you have to change your mental attitude. You have to be willing to be moving in this new direction. If you're not, you're just going to keep changing to be the same. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that every moment, everything is changing. Everything is changing in every moment. So if it seems like nothing's changing, it is changing. It's just changing to be the same. So if there's a lot of good stuff that's changing to be the same, good, keep it. Like, you don't need to touch that pile. You can even make it better by being extra grateful for those things or whatever way you want to elevate that. But if there's things that are not serving you or your family or your community, you can begin to shift that by simply starting to lean into its opposite, which will stop the momentum, like stop further momentum, but there's still a lot coming at you, right? So we can also say the boomerang, right? Like life is like a boomerang. You throw the boomerang out, it's going to come back. So I threw that boomerang out like quite unconsciously for many years. So anytime I have like this surprising, like, whoa, look at that. Like, whoa, that was a weird interaction with that person. Or like, you remember like the demand letters I was getting from the insurance company? I was like, oh my God, like this letter is so intense. I'm just like, wow, that's a boomerang coming back. Okay, cool. Let's burn it off and move forward and be in control of my mind as I navigate this super intense letter from this insurance company.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what it comes through, intense letter or
right.
Seaweed in the ocean,
right.
or the waves that knocked us out the other day. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's going to keep flooding in every day.
Yeah.
Every day. That's why we're learning. We're learning and applying it. But if you don't apply, let's back it up. If you're not there to actually experience it, and to see, I saw you navigate this whole experience week after week after week, phone call after phone call.
Come on, babe. It was month after month.
Month after month. Like, it's going to keep coming until and your energy never rose above, on a scale 1 to 10, it was never more than a 2. Like, you're always like, okay, what's the next step I need to take? You said it's A? Okay, then it's A. And then you would get a letter that says it's B. And you're like, well, wait a minute. You said it was A. So you just keep cycling through, keeping your meeting that intensity. It could be intense. I mean, intense Jessica, I've seen intense Jessica before. And to meet a letter like that, the way that you do now, is not how you would have met it, decades ago.
No, I would have ripped those people apart. And that is so nasty and yucko.
Right. Well, that's the boomerang.
I don't want to be yucko anymore.
You put that out there, and now these people are giving you the opportunity to heal that energy, and now you're working through it. So now we should get no demand letters. Hear that? No demand letters. I'm putting it out there.
Isn't that funny? Like, I got nasty letters, but how often or how many times have I been nasty, before I woke up? Yeah. Okay. So God, I'm surprised I don't have a mailbox bursting with nasty letters.
Yeah, it's just grateful. It's just one company, one letter.
It's all good now, though.
It's all good. Yeah. I think it's so funny. Yeah.
It is funny to traverse situations like that in life from this 10,000 foot view, and realize that the person on the phone at the insurance company is just like, they've got their list of things to do. They probably have to stop at the store on the way home. They're going to make dinner. Like, they have a job that, helps to pay their rent so that they can, we're all in this pursuit to feel good in life. And, it's not this, this dude that I talked to, or the woman that I talked to, or the other guy that I talked to that's like writing the letter. They're just doing their job. And so I have an opportunity to connect with somebody and be kind and pay it forward. So then maybe, because I know how I used to be with those individuals, and I would assume that there's people out there that have taken over that role for me, and they're being crazy and nasty on the phone to people at insurance companies or credit card companies, and I don't want to be that person anymore. So there's a difference between not wanting to be that person anymore and not being that person anymore, right? So I felt the fire coming up. I felt the fear, like, oh my God, like, this is a really intense letter from this insurance company. And breathing and feeling my feet in shoes and just playing the game, because the game is so funny. The game is so funny. It's like, well, you got to yabba dabba do this, and then you got to yabba dabba do this, and then yabba dabba do this, and yabba dabba do this. And it's like, That's so funny. Why would you have to do all this stuff when you can just do this? But you just go, oh, you want me to yabba dabba do? All right. Yabba dabba do.
Right.
Play the game.
So yeah, right. There's just so much less energy involved when you just...
That's the ease.
The ease. And it's not giving in. I wouldn't say it's giving in. It's giving into your own power.
I was persistent. Persistent.
You didn't give the power to the insurance company. Mm-mm. Like that means, what does it mean, giving them power? That means that you're irritated or stressed or angry because they did something that attacked you. Okay. And your reaction is, how dare they do this to me? And I've got all this, cred and like ease and calm. Like how? But instead, you took the power back, which is the important piece there, where you said, I'm going to choose how I'm going to navigate and react to this, knowing that it's just a game. It's really just a game that we're playing. It's this movie of life. We all have roles. I play a role as a coach sometimes, and I play a role as, I think I joked about it the other day. I think we were doing a website, and I was like, oh, I'm a web designer for 15 minutes today. This is cool. I'm playing this role. I'm Clark's dog walker today. This is cool. And you keep playing these roles, never taking them too seriously. And I think, I know there's just more ease in life that way. And I recall just earlier this week too, I remember I responded to something in a completely non-BJ way, and I did it so quickly. It might have taken 5 or 10 seconds, and it just brought a wealth, a depth, an enormity of just like instantaneous relief, because I didn't indulge in it too long. I just nipped it right there with an easeful approach.
But I think the nipping of something is your ability to do that is representative of the little bit every day over a long period of time that you've been doing for years. So when people told me 20 years ago, let it go, I wanted to hurt someone. Because how do you let it go? How do you let it go when you're being wronged? How do you let it go when somebody's being a jerk and you're not a jerk? How do you let it go? You can't just let that go. I couldn't just let that go. And that really was such a catalyst for the person I am today, the work that I do today, and who I am going to continue to grow into. Because really, I've joked many times, if one more person told me to let it go and did not give me the tools of how to let it go, I was going to end up serving multiple life sentences in a maximum security prison, because I was so on the edge, because people would just say, let it go. And I didn't know the how, right? So there was a part of me that was looking for step 1, step 2, step 3. But what I didn't realize was you let it go naturally as you lean into that spectacular being that you truly are. And that happens a little bit every day over a long period of time, when I close my eyes, shut my mouth, sit down, and stay dedicated in my practice, and not just sit in meditation and think about things, but sit in meditation and go deep into that spectacular being who I am. Then she begins to have more play in my life. And it's not even an effort to let things go. In a lot of things, I don't even have to let go because they just don't stick.
I'm glad you connected it to your meditation practice, because that was another thing I was
Dude, I'm just pulling off your list of subjects here, and I didn't even see them.
But meditating, maybe this is what I see too, is you have your meditation practice, but then you walk out into the world and you completely forget about everything that happened in those 5 to 60 minutes that you spent in calm and peace or chaos or thought. And you're
talking you general, right? You're not talking you me.
No, not you.
Yeah, we
people.
As human beings.
You've got a meditation practice. So my point is connecting what you're doing. The same thing with yoga. Connecting what you do on the mat with what you take out into the world. We feel this compelling accomplishment to check the box for doing the morning meditation or the yoga flow on the mat, and then we leave it, however long it was, and we enter the world, and we become anxious and we get fearful and we get angry and we get frustrated and we feed lack and we have sadness and things are flying at us in all different directions. And then we end up at the end of our day like totally exhausted because we just had all this energy and opportunity presented to us, but we didn't take advantage of any of the learnings or the opportunities there. And then we repeat the cycle again and we check the box for the meditation and yoga, and then we go out into the world and we have struggle seeing how we can change.
So I think it's important to say that let's pick on anxiety, because that's it's almost like a buzzword. But I understand there's a lot of fear. I get it. Totally get it. But if you can consider for a moment, or maybe open up your journal and put some pen to paper on this, that anxiety is no different than holding Warrior 2 in stillness for 2 minutes. It's just the vehicle for the practice. So when the anxiety shows up, when the demand letter from the insurance company comes in, when the person gets into your face yelling and screaming, saying, "You made me feel this way," these are all vehicles for the practice. So make meditation your life and set the intention as number one, and know that you're not going to be that good at it at first. You are going to do 10 minutes of meditation and then you're going to freak out on somebody 45 minutes later. But maybe afterwards you're going to be like, oh my God, like, yeah, I listened to that Osho and oh my God, and I just did it and that was the vehicle. And okay. And I do this all the time, BJ. I'll come back and I'll be like, I could have been better. I could have been better on that. Okay. So now I take that, I put that in my could have been better file, and then I use that for later. Oh, here it is again, because it's going to keep coming. Here it is again. Okay, this time I'm going to be better. And maybe I'm a little bit better, maybe I'm a lot better, but over time, it will, again, it's that momentum, right? It will catch up. It will catch up. If you're not used to having a meditation practice, making your meditation your life is going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute, but don't give up. And it's okay if you freak out or somebody freaks out on you or you have a panic attack. Like, it's okay. Stay with your practice. Set the intention to make your life a meditation. Stay awake when everything says go to sleep, and you'll get better and better every day. You'll get better and better every day in every way. But it takes time. It takes a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I think remove the time element back to a practice I really believe in, or a belief I believe in. It's going to take time. I mean, you've created this life that you're in now, us specifically, for 40 years, for 50 years. So to expect this to change.
You're talking about my inner age?
Yeah. Well, that's 25. If we expect, this is where we are at 50 years to get to here, we can't expect it to take 5 minutes to completely change our life and then live this, like everything is rainbows and unicorns. It doesn't happen that way. So it can be fast-tracked, though. It can be moved along quicker if you begin to get off that highway of thought pattern and habits that you've created and begin to take some exits along the way and see like, oh, I can interrupt this super highway and take a breath, take a moment and pause and say like, okay, do I want to get back on the highway or do I want to continue on this side road? And sometimes we're going to get back on the highway and sometimes we're going to take the side road, but we all know the side roads go back to the highway. So we can have those experiences so that eventually over time, maybe we're not on the highway anymore. Maybe we're just all taking back roads and side roads, and we're having this like experience with unknown that we just find is appealing to us. I don't know if that analogy makes sense, highway to side road, but it just came to me.
Well, you'll have a chance to review it when you listen to this podcast before it launches.
I'll just forward.
You'd be like, John, can you cut that out, please?
At about 40 minutes in, just...
Yeah. Oh, I have a confession.
Yeah.
When I do remember, like in those early days of the Yogi Triathlete podcast, I definitely I still wasn't out of judgment of myself. And so there were times where I like would take things out that I said so I could just sound better and I wouldn't have to live with myself. It wasn't that severe, but definitely I definitely was guilty of being like, oh, I wish I didn't say that. Oh, I don't have to say it. Highlight, delete. Good. Look at that. Doesn't even exist. I like what you said about like, it's going to take some time, right, to develop the new habit, but it only takes an instant to set the intention. And then within that, like every choice you make, your new life or your new way of being or your enhanced way of being is always one choice away. So it doesn't matter if you screw up or your mind falls, like you get this next moment and, oh man, this life is just so precious. That's the other thing I was thinking about today. It's just, that light can turn off at any moment. We just don't know how long we have, and those around us. And like I don't know. I just want to be the best I can be while I'm here. And as much as I want to fast track that, it's a work in progress. So have some grace for yourself along the way, which is easier said than done. But that too is a process. I
forgot who said it, but really resonates with me, and I've used it in many texts to our athletes, is every choice is a chance, right? Every choice is a chance, and it's a chance to change. We have, I don't know how many choices we have in a day, but it's a chance.
We have, I think, 1,440 moments in a day.
Okay,
I think there's like 1,440 minutes in a day. And again, we are athletes. We are not mathletes.
Right. But Liz on the team is a self-proclaimed
I know. We need,
math lover.
You know what? Can we get an accountant or a mathematician to join the team, please, so we can talk about pool times and all that good stuff. I am going to pull this up right now to see how many minutes.
But I like that, though. If you look at it, we're presented with so many opportunities. Mm-hmm. And it's what we choose to do with those opportunities that then begin to build momentum into reflecting what it is we want to achieve, or falling back into the default pattern, which is something that we've always done. So we're changing to be the same.
I know. Doesn't that sound so gross?
Sounds like weak coffee.
It sounds like weak coffee. I know. Bums me out, man. I spent a lot of time
you pay for that coffee, and it's a little brown, and it's like,
I think I'm like way off on this 1,440, which doesn't surprise anyone. Didn't I have some ridiculous math mishap in the last one? Oh, yeah, 45 degrees is not a right angle. Somebody, actually a couple people now, because Liz actually on the team, not Coach Liz, we got to get our name for Liz, but triathlete Liz, Spartan Liz, flipping truck tire Liz, I think it was her that was reading this book. I don't know. It doesn't matter. 4,000 weeks. So the average person has 4,000 weeks to live. And, it's very much like, as people were telling me about it, actually, I think it was Nancy on the Costa Rica retreat that was reading it. And it's basically like, it speaks our language 100%. But if somebody's looking for another voice or, another perspective on the same darn thing we talk about every month here on the show, check out that book, 4,000 Weeks. What else do you have on your list?
Well, two things, but I think I want to prioritize and talk about...
1,440 minutes in a day.
There you go. You're right.
I am
the ego like that?
Yeah, totally. Celebrate victory. 1,440 minutes. That's not math, though. That's just like, was my memory correct?
It's the ability to use your fingers on a phone.
Yeah, that's
use
true.
Calculator. or ask Google.
What else is on your list? I was gonna talk about something important, but
let's talk about it.
Kind of, more human. Was fueling for your workouts.
Yeah, we can touch this. Let's go.
We talked to Elizabeth Impine, and I really thought, there's been so many times in my life where I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This post just moved through me and the whole world is going to change. You watch. And I really thought the whole world was like every athlete was going to change when Elizabeth talked about REDS, which is like the long-term effect of not fueling your body and how devastating that is for your health. And yet I'm still hearing about athletes that are not fueling for their workouts. And so I would say take that into a massive swing in the opposite direction, like over fuel. Like you gotta make a significant shift if you're not fueling yourself for your workouts. So maybe we should just say how we fueled ourselves today.
We can. I would like to go there, but I think the passion you may be experiencing too, which has been the momentum has picked up since the Pura Vida Cycling Challenge. You really walked away from that experience with love and joy and gratitude, but also with like, oh my God, like if I didn't fuel like I did, just constantly putting stuff and calories into my body, I would have been in that truck with Dan a little bit more often.
Yeah, like every day.
During those rides.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're so true. Like that really
cemented.
Because like looking at my bike training, look at my history as a biker, like, and then you look at those 5 days of climbing, it'd be like, what? You have no business going there and doing that challenge. But I knew I had gears on my bike. I knew my mindset is quite invincible. And I knew that my body has an incredible ability to metabolize nutrition when I'm training. I just have really good digestion. So, but I wasn't thinking like, oh, I was going to do it. I don't know. I came off of that with this whole new, like, or elevated, this is kind of the word I've used a million times already in this podcast, but like this elevated awareness of how important it is to fuel the body. Because what I asked of my body over those days was so significant. And I was a massive success. I completed all the rides every day. The first day I went out on top about halfway through and was able to complete all the other rides. And I felt even great that day that I pulled out. But I was like, I'm going to George Costanza this. I'm going to go out on top. And, but the fuel was amazing because I felt how I would put fuel in, my body would just take it and absorb it. Like it was unbelievable. Like I felt like there was little hands inside my body that was like, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Oh, I'll take that. I'll thank you very much. And just continually fueling. So yeah, I think you're right. Coming off of that challenge, it was amazing. I was so successful beyond what I could have imagined. And I was just imagining how I wanted to feel, which was, in community and feeling grateful and feeling strong, because, on paper it was like, oh my God, it was so unknown. It was so like, am I going to be able to do this? And, I didn't want to entertain that at all. I just wanted to be in community. Those were I had broad goals. Ride every day, things like that. But yeah, fueling, it's so important.
So what did you have today?
Woke up this morning and we had, I would say, how much quinoa do you think was in there? Maybe like half a cup, 3/4 of a cup. So I had like 3/4 of a cup of quinoa and I added some oat milk and I added actually a little bit of some raw oats. And then I heated that up. I put it in the microwave, which I'm not a huge fan of microwaving, but I put it in the microwave for about a minute, and then I put some granola on it, raspberries, blueberries, banana, sun butter, and some maple syrup, like a maple syrup drizzle, and I had that for my breakfast. And then I was going out. Now, I would not have had that if I was going out for a track workout, but I was going out for 2 hours on the trail. And I know that this Friday trail run, I'm just kind of like, I'm chilling, man. I'm cruising. I'm hiking on the uphills. I'm not going crazy on the downhills. Like it's just kind of this chill, keep your connection to the trails and things like that. So I knew I would be fine having something that big. And then, so 2 hours on the trail. So I had that, probably hit the trails maybe an hour after eating that, maybe a little bit, hour and change. And then on the trail, I had a serving of Roctane, which is 250 calories over the course of those 2 hours. And then I had a gel. And then as soon as I got home, I had an Ezekiel wrap heated up, and I put a Hillary's burger in there. So a garden burger or a green burger, and then a ton of spinach and some hummus, and drink a bunch of water. So that was how I fueled my workout. And I know I'm going to be hungry. So probably after this, I'm probably going to make a smoothie with pineapple, banana, spinach, a half a scoop to 1 scoop of protein powder. I don't use a lot of that stuff, and oat milk. So I'll have that as like a second lunch.
I like second lunch.
I like
second breakfast.
I like second breakfast.
Second dinner?
Second lunch. No, I don't like second dinner because I don't like dinner. I like to go to bed. You know, I want my body resting, not digesting. So how about you?
Yeah. So because I have a swim first thing in the morning, I didn't consume anything. I'm playing around with this disruption I have in my gut in terms of sometimes some swims it feels uncomfortable, some swims it feels fine. I haven't really been able to nail it down. So when in doubt, I'm not feeling it. I think I had second dinner last night, so I didn't have a big breakfast today. I got to the pool, had water with electrolyte in it, came home, had a banana, had the rest of your smoothie bowl from Choice. I had a bowl full of berries because I bought a 2-pound package of blueberries from Trader Joe's, and I've just been consuming like bowl after bowl of just eating berries.
So good.
I had a grapefruit, and then I did my live, and then I consumed afterwards 2 pieces of the super toast, super loaf with peanut butter and chia. You know the works, peanut butter.
No, what is the works? Tell us.
Peanut butter, agave, chia seeds, flax meal, shredded coconut, a banana on top, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I had those 2 pieces, and then another banana, full banana. Well, I had 3/4. I gave another quarter to
Clark,
the banana monster in the family. I literally bought 3 bushes of bananas, and there's like 3 left. I did that 2 days ago.
I know you eat a lot of bananas.
Yeah. And then I hopped on the bike. I had Roctane on the bike, which is 250 calories. And then more blueberries after, because I had to get right to the podcast. But after this, I'll have a smoothie bowl.
So we started this podcast at 12:30 in the afternoon. So that was everything. I mean, that's a good fueling breakfast. Did you have any problems with your gut today? Well, and grapefruit's good for you too, because grapefruit's good for it's got some good digestive enzymes in there. I know you're trying to figure that out, but you did a great job at fueling. Like, you know, you put in some things that are easy to digest, the fruit and things like that, the grapefruit, and then you had the toast. Well, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching that. And then I'll have my smoothie. As soon as we're off of this, I'm having my smoothie bowl.
All right. Well, yeah, make it, because I got to make,
you gotta make yours.
My smoothie. I do the thing that you don't understand. I just make a smoothie.
Yeah. But this is my opportunity, I guess. But I just enjoy the smoothie bowl so much.
I know.
I love the top. I made more granola. So that's what I did. While you're out in the trails, I made more granola, of course. The Yogi Triathlete granola recipe on our Patreon page.
Yeah, it's on our Patreon page. It's good. And the one on our Patreon page, I think, has coconut oil in it. But we've since, you took it off, huh? You want oil free?
No oil.
Cool.
But you can if you want. But I just found if you remove the oil, it tastes the same.
Yeah. So, yeah, and go back and listen to that podcast with Elizabeth. It launched, I'll put a link in the show notes on it. Because really, if we're like, you might be getting away with it. You know, it's kind of like, it's like people just jump into races and they don't train, you know, like long distance races. Like, you're going to get away with it for a while.
Until you don't.
And then you're not. And the body is not the limitless part of us, you guys. It is a temple. And the question to ask is like, am I talking to it like a temple? Am I feeding it like a temple? Am I training it like a temple? Am I resting it like a temple? Am I loving it like a temple? And do I have peace within it? like a temple. It really is this amazing vehicle that we've been gifted. And with it, we got free will to choose, which is so beautiful when we can use that in the direction of the life we desire and the person we want to be and what we want to do and experience in this life and how we want to experience it. So the other thing is like, we're 2 weeks into the June edition of Awake Kitchen. And we are recording all the cooking classes, and we are, so far it looks good, these 2 classes that we have. So we'll have 2 more classes, Chef Linda, and then that will be up for people to, purchase the program. So we'll have different ones throughout the year. So there'll be different ones. This is like a summer series, but this week was burrito week. And like, when in doubt, you guys, just throw it in a tortilla and roll it up and eat it. She actually even has a recipe, the leftover girl burrito or something like that. And so Awake Kitchen, the whole purpose of Awake Kitchen is making the healthy option the easy option. What did I make the other night, Beach? It was so quick. Was it tofu scramble?
It was tofu scramble. You whipped it up. Normally I make it. Well, I've been making it the past few times, but you whipped it up in 5 minutes.
It was so fast.
Maybe like 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, to the plate,
quick.
It was like 8 minutes. So here's how I did it. I got the pan out, and we got broccoli at Trader Joe's, which was already cut, but I actually chopped it a little bit more. So I put the pan on, no oil, turned it up to about medium, threw the broccoli in there. Then I threw in, what else did I put in there? I think zucchini in there, and let that dry saute. So it's like starting to get like a little bit brown. You're moving it around. And then I got chickpeas, drained those, but they still had moisture on them. So I throw a whole can of chickpeas in there. And because they have moisture on them, the vegetables steam up. And then crumble a package of sprouted organic tofu from Trader Joe's on top. Again, it's got some water in it, so further steams the vegetables. Nothing's getting stuck to the bottom of the pan. And then we threw an insane amount of spinach in there. I think I did red pepper. Red pepper is another one that has a water content, so it will help to steam the veggies if you want to go oil-free. And then the spinach, which has actually the red pepper with the spinach combo, the red pepper has a high level of vitamin C, which helps the absorption of the iron from the spinach. And that was so quick. And then we throw in cumin. What else did we throw in? Cumin, turmeric, of course. And then throw that in a tortilla, call it a burrito. We had avocado on it and salsa. It was ridiculously good. I think you had second dinner that night too.
Yeah, I usually have second dinner.
Yeah.
But that was a super quick meal, healthy, and we got to eat it we had leftovers for the next day. So you can snack on that for lunch. So
yep.
We'll usually throw in both containers of the sprouted tofu. Like, it comes in 2 packs, but we only had 1 this time. But the point is, it's super easy, super helpful, can fuel your workout, fuel recovery, all good spices, all good things. And part of our mission is to remove the decision fatigue of what to eat as an endurance athlete. It's really, really simple in this program.
Yeah. So, and you also Chef Linda will create 1 to 2 recipes in the cooking classes, but then you get corresponding, because she'll have a theme for every week, and you'll get corresponding recipes for that week as well. So, oh my God, just in the 3 that she's done, there's been an incredible amount of recipes, and none of them are difficult. The first one, I think she did the sauces. But what we are going to do is we're going to offer some one-off classes. So be on the lookout for that, you guys. We're thinking a brunch class, which I've already put in a request for a breakfast burrito in that.
Vegan
scone and muffin class, which sounds amazing because those are things that you can freeze and pull out and eat and fuel. So it's detrimental not to fuel your body for workouts. And if there's a hesitation because there's a relationship of fear of gaining weight or a distaste for your body, that's where you want to start. You gotta start healing that relationship, because that's not going anywhere until you heal it. And I've lived that relationship just to a very intense degree, and I have healed that relationship, and it's possible. It's possible. So, and in the meantime, do the best you can to fuel your workouts, because it's your body will only be forgiving for so long. And we just want all of you guys not just to live long lives. We want you to live quality lives. We wish for you to live lives of well-being and joy, and the one that you desire to live, and being the person you desire to be within that life.
All right. Take us out.
You take us out.
I took us in.
Yeah, you got to bookend it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today for the latest episode of The O Show. If you have questions, comments on this episode, let us know. If you have thoughts on future episodes of what you'd like to hear us speak about, let us know. But it's always such a special time when we can sit here together across from each other and actually just have a conversation and share it with you all, as we have conversations like this all the time. But we want to be transparent, and we are transparent, and we're living the example. And what we talk about is most often what we experience. And if we can maybe shine a little bit light a little further down the path of where you're going, then we feel successful. So we'll continue to do that. You continue to show up as you out there. Be the best version of you today. And we'll see you next time.
And BJ will continue to do the intros and the outros.
We shall see.
We shall see.